Hello everyone, welcome to the GT Boxing channel. The history of boxing is, at its core, the history of changing generations. Some stars burn out, while others are born before our eyes. Some leave the stage, while others step into the spotlight to accept the challenge. That is exactly what is happening right now in the heavyweight division, the royal class of boxing, where the biggest, strongest, and most expensive fighters on the planet collide. And today, one name has begun to resonate more and more in the boxing world. Moses Itauma. He is only 20, just 20 years old, and already standing at the doorstep of the biggest challenges of his career. After dismantling the experienced and dangerous Dillian White in Saudi Arabia in just one round, it became crystal clear. We are not talking about just another talented prospect. We are talking about a man who could very well become the next king of the heavyweight division. The White test was no ordinary checkpoint. Dillian has shared the ring with the likes of Tyson Fury, Alexander Povetkin, Anthony Joshua, and several other elite names. He is a fighter who knows how to suffer, how to return, and how to bite back in brutal fights. And yet Itauma dealt with him as if it were nothing more than a sparring session. No hesitation, no mistakes, no nervous energy. A cool head, fast hands, heavy punches, and complete composure. These are exactly the qualities that separate a talented youngster from a future world champion. After the fight, journalists immediately rushed to Itauma with the obvious question: is he ready to face undisputed champion Oleksandr Usyk? Moses smiled and replied, "I don't mind. But Kabay and Parker deserve that chance more." Those words reflected maturity. He didn't rush into reckless challenges, didn't shout, "Give me Usyk right now." He understands. The champion's path is built gradually, step by step. But what would those fights actually look like? Let's imagine. First, a clash with Ajit Kabay. The German fighter who recently shocked the boxing world is the definition of an awkward opponent. Kabay is known for his footwork, constant movement around the ring, and relentless pace. He doesn't hit with Wilder's destructive power, but he is tough, disciplined, and mentally resilient. For Itauma, this would be a test of patience and distance. It wouldn't be enough to simply apply pressure. He would need to break down the distance and systematically dismantle Kabay over several rounds. This is where we would see how patient and composed Moses truly is. Still, with his size, speed, and natural aggression, Kabay would find it very hard to contain him. The opening rounds might be competitive, but by the middle of the fight, Itauma's pressure would take control. The likeliest outcome? A late stoppage or a clear decision win for the young Brit. Then comes Joseph Parker. This is a very different level of test. Parker is vastly experienced, quick, and clever. He knows how to withstand pressure, how to punch in combinations, and above all, he doesn't fear big names. We remember how he endured tough fights against Joshua, Chisora, and White, and how impressively he dismantled Deontay Wilder. Against Itauma, this would be a tactical battle. Parker is faster on his feet, more explosive early, and poses the danger of catching Moses with a sharp counterhook or a sudden flurry as he comes in. But the gap in age and freshness is massive. Parker often wins rounds when his opponent hesitates, and Itauma is not the type to hesitate. He presses forward, applies constant pressure, and forces opponents to retreat. Under such sustained aggression, even Parker would begin to struggle for breath by the middle rounds. The question would not be whether Itauma could impose his style, but whether Parker could survive to the final bell. Youth and physical strength would tilt the balance in Moses's favor. And then, the dream fight. Moses Itauma versus Oleksandr Usyk. The undisputed champion who has beaten everyone placed before him. Usyk is a chess master inside the ring, a man who reads fights better than anyone in the division. His footwork, his angles, his tempo, all create chaos for heavyweights. But Usyk is 38 years old now, and he cannot maintain that pace forever. Against Itauma, it would be the classic clash of youth versus experience. Usyk would almost certainly win the early rounds, boxing from the outside, scoring points with his speed and ring IQ. But as the fight wore on, Itauma's size and raw strength would start to dictate the terms. We would see the champion's body gradually tested and broken down under relentless pressure. It wouldn't be an easy fight, nor a quick victory. It would be a true chess match, one where every round mattered dearly. It is important to remember that other so-called heavyweight prospects, Tony Yoka, Jared Anderson, Frank Sanchez, have already stumbled. They've lost, their aura of invincibility shattered. Itauma remains the one standing tall, the face of the future. He is Britain's hope for a new era, the man to follow in the footsteps of Joshua and White while surpassing them, ushering in the next chapter of heavyweight boxing. What makes Itauma unique? First, he appeals to the fans. He has charisma, he is young, and he fights with a style that is aggressive and entertaining. Second, promoters and broadcasters see him as a golden ticket. And if Turki Al-Sheikh, the man who turned Saudi Arabia into the new capital of world boxing, gets behind his career, Itauma's rise could reach astronomical heights. There would be money, blockbuster fights, and the attention of the entire world. But dangers remain. Styles make fights, and there are opponents who could cause Moses problems. Devastating punchers like Deontay Wilder or Zhilei Zhang, even with age catching up to them, still carry the kind of power that can end a fight with a single shot. Then there are the clever counterpunchers like Usyk or even Parker, fighters who can exploit lapses in concentration. Discipline and composure will be critical, because youth can sometimes betray a fighter in the biggest moments. And we still don't know how Itauma will react when he is truly hurt, when he is forced into the deepest waters. That is something only time will reveal. Today, Moses Itauma is 20 years old. Just 20. And yet, in his hands rests the future of an entire era. He has already shown that he is ready for big steps, and his journey has only just begun. But one thing is already clear. A new star is rising in the heavyweight division. A star that may soon dictate the rules, fill stadiums, and fight for the status of undisputed champion. History always repeats itself. When the old titans fall, new ones emerge. And watching Itauma's icy composure, his raw power, and his undeniable talent, one cannot help but say, we are witnessing the birth of the future king of the heavyweight division. That's all for now. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos. Bye for now, everyone.